From Los Angeles to a worldwide audience, this is Boaz Power TV, where we take your life to the next level. Now, internationally known speaker and author, here's Boaz.
Hi, welcome to the Power Show. You are part of the Power Nation, and I'm so delighted that you're here, because here we take your life to the next level by helping you improve your attitude, your relationships, your finances, and your career. This is episode number 121 on Boaz Power TV, and I call this The Power of Suggestion, Key West Style. Something amazing happened to me the other day. I was in Key West, Florida. I had just given a seminar there, and the short ride from the Hilton Hotel to the Key West airport will be embedded in my mind forever because of the cab driver, Margarita. You know, the flights back to Miami that afternoon were all oversold. Thus, I was heading for the airport in order to pick up a rental car and drive the 150 miles along the Florida Keys toward Miami's airport. Those few minutes I spent in Margarita's cab proved the amazing power of suggestion. The experience showed what a powerful effect the mind can have over the body. Do you believe that? I do. The mind controls the body. I believe the term is psychosomatic. The fact that this event took place in Key West added to the intrigue of the moment. If you haven't been there, Key West is a unique place. You've got to go. It is the southernmost city in the continental United States. I was amazed to find out that it lies 755 miles further south than Los Angeles. Who knew? The town was first settled in the 1820s and is situated at the tip of an island chain that stretches southwest from mainland Florida. Key West is actually closer to Cuba. Did you know this? Just 90 miles away than it is to Miami. So it's closer to Cuba than it is to Miami. As I drove toward Miami, I crossed a series of 42 bridges that connect the chain of islands. Now, flying into the airport in Key West is like flying into a Caribbean country. The sign on the terminal building reads, "Welcome to the Conchs Republic." C-O-N-C-H-S, the Conchs Republic. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right, but it did sound sort of unique. Key West natives are commonly called Conchs. They get that name from the tough, tasty mollusk found in the waters that surround the island. Now, during my cab ride from the airport to the hotel, we passed Whitehead Street. At 907 Whitehead is the Ernest Hemingway Home and Museum. It's nestled in the heart of Old Key West and was the home of one of America's most honored and respected authors. Hemingway lived and worked there for more than 10 years in Key West. He found peace in the turquoise waters that surround the island of Key West, and being there, I know why. Oh, it's such a lovely place. This Caribbean-flavored culture is both a colorful seaport and a cosmopolitan gateway. Writers and artists find it a tranquil haven. The early history of Key West found a mixture of inhabitants. There were West Indian pirates, Southern aristocrats, cigar makers from Cuba, New England ship captains, and Bahamian salvagers. Many a ship in the early and mid-1800s foundered on a reef 7 miles out. Thus, the island drew its primary income at that time from salvaging cargoes from those wrecked ships. As ships would strike the reef and begin to sink, hardy wreckers would often fight near gale-force winds to rescue crews and cargoes. The wrecking industry ultimately became so profitable that it made Key West the richest city per capita in the United States. Did you know that? Amazing. It was in the early 1900s that millionaire Henry Flagler constructed an overseas railroad from the Florida mainland to Key West. A 1935 hurricane destroyed this amazing railroad. Leftover track and bridges were then sold to the government, which built an overseas highway by 1938, and that's the road that I eventually traveled on that day. Thus, in such an interesting place, I met Margarita in my cab ride to the Key West airport. She was born in the Bahamas and had come to Key West in the 1980s seeking work. Her husband had been a fisherman, and her 2 sons grew up on the island. However, the afternoon we met, Margarita had a severe pain in her jaw. I asked if she wanted to get rid of the pain. She said, "Sure, but how can you do that?" I related that in addition to being a professional speaker, I am also a hypnotherapist. I explained that the mind dictates feelings to the body. When the mind focuses on a pain, it expands. In the same fashion, the mind can diminish pain. I told Margarita that I wanted her to describe her pain as if it was an object that I was going to build. With that in mind, she had to tell me how wide this imaginary, her pain, was, how deep it was, and how tall it was. She guessed it was 12 inches wide, 18 inches deep, and 12 inches tall. Now, I had told her, don't think about your reality. Just imagine it being a larger physical object. So again, I asked her how wide it would be, how deep, how tall, and since she was driving the cab, she simply told me roughly dimensions. When I'm in person with someone, I actually put my hands up and get them tell me how wide it is. I always start with a wider distance because I want them to follow me. And then I then asked if these measurements formed a block, a cylinder, a cone, or a ball. A block, cylinder, cone, or a ball. She said a block. I asked about the material of this block. She guessed concrete. I usually give people a choice: concrete, wood, rubber, steel. I then asked if the outside surface was smooth or rough. Margarita said rough. The last question dealt with the color of the block. She said black. Ironically, 95% of the time I ask people the question, it's either black or red, signifying pain. I then told Margarita that I would ask the same questions a second time, and that I believe she would find the size of the block smaller, the surface smoother, the material softer, and the color lighter. By stating these points, I was using the power of suggestion to get Margarita to shrink her pain. The answers to the same questions a second time proved my point. The object was smaller in Margarita's mind. It was smoother, made of a softer material and lighter in color. I did the same thing a third time, and she suddenly realized that her pain was gone. Margarita and I parted at the Key West airport with her pain gone, and she amazed at what had just happened. I explained that it was not me, but rather the power of her own mind. Now, if a little lady driving a cab in Key West, Florida, can make her own headache go away, or rather her own pain and her jaw go away during a 10-minute cab ride, what can you and I do when we focus our minds in the right direction? Perhaps some headaches in our own lives will also disappear. Incredible. And it is the power of the mind that actually helped save my life 3 times when I almost died. At the age of 20 when I went off a cliff in a car, and then at 29 when I walked into a hospital emergency room with a cardiac arrest with a heartbeat of 400 beats a minute, and then in 1991 when I had open heart surgery to cure my rare heart condition, and I almost died on the table when the anesthesiologist accidentally cut my carotid artery. So I know the power of the mind over the body. Affirmation for this episode of Boaz Power TV, you may want to write it down. I now focus the power of my mind on positive and productive desires in my life. This is so good. Please write it down. I now focus the power of my mind on positive and productive desires in my life. Thank you for joining me. If you like these messages and many people around the world find them highly productive, please do me a favor. Forward this to 5 people you know. Suggest to go to my website, boazpower.com, and have them sign up, subscribe to my free weekly broadcast of Boaz Power TV. You are special, you are unique, and you are now using the power of your mind to control your thoughts and your body in a much more productive way. I see it in you. You are a champion, and you are destined for greatness. Have a powerful day.
This has been Boaz Power TV. To comment, see other episodes, or to subscribe to this free broadcast, go to our blog at boazpower.com. That's boazpower.com. We're here to take your life to the next level.